As you know, I am your former president, Andrew Jackson. I'm here today to talk to you of my accomplishments during my presidency. As you all know, I am a proud, ambitious man, so I have much to talk about. First of all, my elections were no easy feats. I was swindled out of my office position in the election of 1824. I had a national following and I was a popular candidate. I had more of the popular vote than Adams, but the House was persuaded by both he and Clay. However, in 1828 I finally won my presidency with 56% of the vote and 178 electoral votes. Adams tried to slander my character, but the people relied on and believed in me because of my heroic background. And the people also wanted a candidate who opposed aristocracy and government corruption. In 1832 I was re-elected with 55% of the popular vote and 219 electoral votes. My campaign was based on opposition to Clay's American system and the National Republicans. My supporters would soon be known as the Democrats. We opposed the recharter of the Bank of the United States, and I believe the people fully supported me on this issue. As president, electoral machines came into play along with strong political parties. As I said earlier, my followers and I were known as the Democrats, and during that time the two-party system came about. I know that this will become a huge impact on America later on in our history. I'm also proud to have prevented and vetoed the Maysville Road and National Bank. I came to oppose tariffs and federal spending because as a nationalist I could see that it was sectioning our union. I want to preserve the Union, and bills like the one to aid the Maysville Road was splitting up the country. I also opposed the recharter of the bank because it was unconstitutional and stockholders had special privileges in a government business. This brings about a good time to mention the nullification crisis. I took care of. As we know, this came about through high tariffs and South Carolina attempted to nullify the tariff, which it had no power to do so. South Carolina also threatened secession, which is of course treason. I called for reduced tariffs and stronger authority to enforce laws concerning revenue. Congress did just as I wished, and thus a compromise was brought about. Again, my desire to keep the Union strong is prevalent. But enough of reviewing my vetoes. The one major law that was passed during my 8 years as in the presidency was the Indian Removal Act. Everyone knows that I can be friendly to the Indians, but as our country expands, for the good of our country and in the best interest of the tribes, the Indians should have assimilated or moved out of harm's way. The Indians were perfectly capable of maintaining their government and land ownership. They just must do so outside of pre-existing state borders. So in order to accomplish these stipulations, Congress passed the act in 1830. The Indians were offered aid in their removal out of states. They didn't have to be forced to assimilate if they didn't want to, and they didn't have to wait for military force to be moved out. They were offered aid. I would also like to point out pretty quickly that the debt was gotten rid of during my presidency. And in general summary, I just want the people to know that the government should not try to mingle with social inequalities in the nation, for it will only make matters worse. A laissez-faire policy is best in this case. The Union will last perpetually as an indivisible nation, and all my opponents or those who have tried to hinder my actions in progressing the Union know that I was not to be taken lightly. Bless the Union, and good night. Thank you.